Okay, hello, Coach Kevin Sparks here, and let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'd like to do is go ahead and share my screen with you guys, point out a couple things. First thing I'd like to point out is that we have a Facebook group that coincides with this meetup group, and it has the same name. It's called I Want to Be Really Rich, and I do not apologize for it. We invite you to come join us. All you have to do is go into your own Facebook profile, find where it says search Facebook, type in I want to be really rich and I do not apologize for it, and you'll be able to find us, ask to be invited and or yeah, ask to join and we'll be happy to have you. The other way to find us is you can go directly to facebook.com/groups/, I want to be really rich. So why is it that you would want to join us? A few different reasons. Reason number one, for instance, if we have anything special to announce to the whole group, usually we'll have those announcements pinned to the top. The other reason is as long as I remember to hit record when we have these Zoom meetings, which I typically do, we go ahead and take those meetings, and typically within 24 to 48 hours or so, whatever meeting we had will be posted here. So for instance, if you're here with us this morning and you really like what you are experiencing, and there's just some things that happened today that you want to go ahead and review, well, maybe later today or tomorrow morning, you can hop into the Facebook group, find the video that we just had from today, and you can go ahead and review that. So you can go over it again. Let's say another, for instance, let's say that we're going through some material and it's multiple days long, and you're with us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. For some reason, you can't make it Thursday, but you're here with us on Friday. Again, the recording will be there and you can go back and review it. So definitely good reasons to be part of the Facebook group. All right. The next thing I want to point out is we are in the middle of going through some great material right now. We're in the middle of going through a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. It was written by a gentleman by the name of Maxwell Maltz. His background was he has since passed away, but when he was alive, he was a wonderful plastic surgeon, and he learned a lot of things about how the mind works. He saw some interesting results that happened when he was working doing reconstructive plastic surgery. Mostly that was the type he was doing. So people that, disfigurements or accidents or things like that. And he found that some people, as a result of plastic surgery, totally transformed and changed, not just their physical appearance, but who they became, who came out of them as a result was just totally a different person. And they had way more self-esteem, and they felt better, they interacted with people better. And then there were other people that had the same type of situation where he had done work, and they thought nothing had changed. Even though everyone around them could see the change, nothing had changed for them. They would look in the mirror and actually see to themselves, they felt that nothing had changed. So it was really an interesting phenomena, because what was the difference going on? And it certainly wasn't the surgery, it was what was going on in people's minds. Well, this particular group that we have, this meetup, is focused on manifesting more money and wealth in our lives. And sometimes we have the intention to do better financially, and we kind of do refer to as a plastic surgery by trying to follow a pattern of creating more wealth and money in our life, but it doesn't give us the results that we want, because on the inside we haven't changed. The difference between the plastic surgery is, yes, there could be an outside change which other people can see, but the inside doesn't change. But if the inside were to change, sometimes the outside doesn't even have to happen. But when it comes to manifesting more money and wealth in your life, if at a subconscious level, you don't see yourself as being rich, or you don't feel yourself as being worthy of being rich, if you don't feel that you deserve it, if you don't see yourself as having it, if it's not real to you, it's not going to manifest physically for you. So that's one of the reasons we're going through this book, is Maxwell Maltz is pointing out to us, and has been now for about half the book. We're about halfway through it, a little past. He's been pointing out to us what's going on. Like, how did we end up the way we are? And more importantly, what can we do about changing that so that we actually have the results we want in our life? Okay. So we may not every single time we're going through this, because it's been a few days, not every day will be a specific focus on money, but it will be a focus on what's going on inside ourselves, how to change it so that we can then see and feel ourselves as it being normal for us to be rich. Once we see and feel ourselves and our subconscious mind accepts that it's normal for us to be rich, it will help us become rich. Instead of becoming probably our greatest enemy and getting in the way, it'll become our greatest friend and biggest helper. So that's why we're going through this book right now. I want to show you where you can get this copy. I happen to own the copy on Kindle and also on Audible. So I've read the book. It's just been years ago, and brought it back out because I felt intuitively that this was the next step for us to go through together. We've been going strong since November 5th as a group and been going through a lot of different things. And this just felt like the next proper step to go through. But pulling it back out, what I like to do is if I'm ever going through material that I can get you guys that material for free, I like to point out either where I can find it for free for you or where you can go, post it into the Facebook group if it's not a book or something like that. This one is a book. I'm going to remember this right now. We are on page 169 of the PDF file. So let me show you where we went ahead and found this. 169. Remember that. I'm going to go backwards for a moment here and show you where it came from. So all I did was type in psycho-cybernetics into Google is what I did. I Googled psycho-cybernetics PDF, as you can see up here. And then multiple things popped up. I went through others before, but I liked this one. I chose this one after looking at several to be the one to share with you guys. And when you click on it, it'll just open up for you right into the book itself. And then what you can do if you like to is you can take your own download function and save it, which I went ahead and did. Okay, let me get us back to page 169. 169, because that's where we left off. Let me blow it up bigger so it's easier for you guys to see and follow along. Okay, that's probably big enough. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start reading. I'll add some commentary where I think it might be helpful for you guys in understanding this a little bit better. What we do though, from an interaction standpoint, you're going to get the opportunity to interact. So if this is your first time with us, just hang in there. Everybody else knows how this functions. But what we do is, like I said, I'll be reading for a little bit, but we like to take 10, 15 minutes or so towards the end of what we're doing to give you the opportunity to share and comment however you like, and or to ask whatever questions you would like to ask. So know that you'll get your opportunity to do that. But if you're typing into chat and whatnot, trying to get my attention, understand I am not, well, I am ignoring you. Okay. I'm not ignoring you personally. I'm ignoring anybody who does that at this point, because that's not how we interact. We'll interact. You'll have the opportunity to come off mute and share what you want to share with the group. And we'll interact that way when we have that time towards that 10, 15 minutes or so to do that. All right. So I'm going to hop on in today and get started where we left off the other day, which was right here. Glance at negatives, but focus on positives. Automobiles come with negative indicators placed directly in front of the driver to tell you when the battery is not charging, when the engine is becoming too hot, when the oil pressure is becoming too low, etc. To ignore these negatives might ruin your car. However, there is no need to become unduly upset if some negative signal flashes. You merely stop at a service station or a garage and take a positive action to correct. A negative signal does not mean the car is no good. All cars overheat at times. However, the driver of the automobile does not look at the control panel exclusively and continuously. To do so might be disastrous. He must focus his gaze on the windshield, look where he is going, and keep his primary attention on his goal, where he wants to go. He merely glances at the negative indicators from time to time. When he does, He does not fix upon them or dwell upon them. He quickly focuses his sight ahead of him again and concentrates on the positive goal where he wants to go. How to use negative thinking. We should adopt a somewhat similar attitude about our own negative symptoms. I'm a firm believer in negative thinking when used correctly. We need to be aware of negatives so we can steer clear of them. Let me repeat that. We need to be aware of negatives, but you have to have your purpose, okay? If you're just aware of them and do nothing about them, no good. But you need to be aware of negatives so you can steer clear of them. A golfer needs to know where the bunkers and sand traps are, but he doesn't think continuously about the bunker, where he doesn't want to go. His mind glances at the bunker, but dwells upon the green. Used correctly, this type of negative thinking can work for us to lead us to success if, one, we are sensitive to the negative to the extent that it can alert us to danger. Two, we recognize the negative for what it is, something undesirable, something we don't want, something that does not bring genuine happiness. Three, we take corrective action and substitute an opposite factor from the success mechanism. Such practice will in time create a sort of automatic reflex, which becomes part of our inner guidance system. Negative feedback will act as a sort of automatic control to help us steer clear of failure and guide us to success. And this is some things to remember from the chapter that we were on. It was much longer than what we just read today. And hopping into the new one. How to remove emotional scars, or how to give yourself an emotional facelift. Sounds pretty good. When you receive a physical injury, such as a cut on the face, your body forms scar tissue, which is both tougher and thicker than the original flesh. The purpose of the scar tissue is to form a protective cover or shell, nature's way of insuring against another injury in the same place. If an ill-fitting shoe rubs against a sensitive part of your foot, the result is pain and sensitiveness. But again, nature protects against further pain and injury by forming a callus, a protective shell. We're inclined to do very much the same thing when we receive an emotional injury. When someone hurts us or rubs us the wrong way, we form emotional or spiritual scars for self-protection. We are very apt to become hard of heart, callous toward the world, and to withdraw within a protective shell when nature needs an assist. In forming scar tissue, it is nature's intention to be helpful. In our modern society, however, scar tissue, especially on the face, can work against us instead of for us. Take George T., for example, a promising young attorney. He was affable, personable, and well on his way to a successful career when he had an automobile accident, which left him with a horrible scar from midway on his left cheek to the left corner of his mouth. Another cut just over his right eye pulled his upper eyelid up tightly when it healed, which gave him a grotesque, glaring appearance. Every time he looked in the bathroom mirror, he saw a repulsive image. The scar on his cheek gave him a perpetual leer, or what he called an evil look. After leaving the hospital, he lost his first case in court and was sure that his evil and grotesque appearance had influenced the jury. He felt that old friends were repelled and repulsed by his appearance. Was it only in his imagination that even his own wife flinched slightly when he kissed her? George T. began to turn down cases. He started drinking during the day. He became irritable, hostile, and something of a recluse. The scar tissue on his face formed a tough protection against further automobile accidents. But the society in which George lived, physical injuries to the face were not the primary hazard. He was more vulnerable than ever to social cuts, injuries, and hurts. His scars were a liability instead of an asset. Had George been a primitive man and suffered facial scars from an encounter with a bear or saber-toothed tiger, his scars would have probably made him more acceptable to his followers. Even in fairly recent times, old soldiers have proudly displayed their scars of battle. And today, in the outlawed dueling societies in Germany, the saber scar is a mark of distinction. In George's case, nature had good intentions, but nature needed an assist. I gave George back his old face by plastic surgery, which removed the scar tissue and restored his features. Following surgery, the personality change in him was remarkable. He became his good-natured, self-confident self again. He stopped drinking, he gave up his lone wolf attitude, moved back into society, and became a member of the human race again. He literally found a new life. This new life, however, was brought about only indirectly by plastic surgery on physical tissue. The real curative agent was the removal of the emotional scars, the security against social cuts, the healing of emotional hurts and injuries, and the restoration of his self-image as an acceptable member of society, which in his case, surgery made possible. How emotional scars alienate you from life. Many people have inner emotional scars who have never suffered physical injuries, and the result on personality is the same. These people have been hurt or injured by someone in the past. To guard against future injury from that source, they form a spiritual callus, an emotional scar to protect their ego. This scar tissue, however, not only protects them from the individual who originally hurt them, it protects them against all other human beings. An emotional wall is built through which neither friend nor foe can pass. A woman who has been hurt by one man takes a vow never to trust any man again. A child who has had his ego sliced up by the despotic and cruel parent or teacher may take a vow never to trust any authority in the future. A man who has had his love rejected by one woman may take a vow never to become emotionally involved with any human being in the future. As in the case of a facial scar, excessive protection against the original source of injury can make us more vulnerable and do us even more damage in other areas. The emotional wall that we build as protection against one person cuts us off from all human beings and from our real selves. As we have pointed out previously, the person who feels lonely or out of touch with other human beings also feels out of touch with his real self and with life. Emotional scars help make juvenile delinquents. Psychiatrist Bernard Holland has pointed out that although juvenile delinquents appear to be very independent and have the reputation of being braggarts, particularly how they hate everyone in authority, they protest too much. Underneath this hard exterior shell, says Dr. Holland, is a soft, vulnerable inner person who wants to be independent upon others. However, they cannot get close to anyone because they will not trust anyone. Sometime in the past, they were hurt by a person important to them, and they dare not leave themselves open to be hurt again. They always have their defenses up. To prevent further rejection and pain, they attack first. Thus, they drive away the very people who would love them, if given a chance, and could help them. Emotional scars create a marred and ugly self-image. Emotional scars to our ego also have another adverse effect. They lead to the development of a scarred, marred self-image, the picture of a person not liked or accepted by other human beings, the picture of a person who can't get along well in the world of people in which he lives. Emotional scars prevent you from creative living, or being what Dr. Arthur W. Combs calls a self-fulfilled person. Dr. Combs, professor of educational psychology and counseling at the University of Florida, says that the goal of every human being should be to become a self-fulfilled person. This, he says, is not something you're born with, but must be achieved. Self-fulfilled persons have the following characteristics. They see themselves as liked, wanted, acceptable, and able individuals. They have a high degree of acceptance of themselves as they are. They have a feeling of oneness with others. They have a rich store of information and knowledge. A person with emotional scars not only has a self-image of an unwanted, unliked, and incapable person, he also has an image of the world in which he lives as a hostile place. His primary relationship with the world is one of hostility, and his dealings with other people are not based upon giving and accepting, cooperating, working with, enjoying with, but upon concepts of overcoming, combating, and protecting from. He can neither be charitable towards another or towards others, nor himself. Frustration, aggression, and loneliness are the price he pays. So 3 rules for immunizing yourself against emotional hurts. Number 1, be too big to feel threatened. Many people become hurt terribly by tiny pinpricks, or what we call social slights. Everyone knows someone in the family, office, or circle of friends who is so thin-skinned and sensitive that others must be continually on guard, lest offense be taken at some innocent word or act. It is a well-known psychological fact that the people who become offended the easiest have the lowest self-esteem. We are hurt by those things we conceive as threats to our ego or self-esteem. Fancied emotional thrusts, which go by unnoticed by the person with wholesome self-esteem, slice these people up terribly. Even the real digs and cuts, which inflict a terrible injury to the ego of the person with low self-esteem, do not make a dent in the ego of the person who thinks well of himself. It is the person who feels undeserving, doubts his own capabilities, and has a poor opinion of himself, who becomes jealous at the drop of a hat. It is the person who secretly doubts his own worth and who feels insecure with himself, who sees threats to his ego where there are none, that exaggerates and overestimates the potential damage from real threats. We all need a certain amount of emotional toughness and ego security to protect us from real and fancied ego threats. It wouldn't be wise for our physical body to be covered over completely with a hard callus or a shell like a turtle's. We would be denied the pleasure of all sensual feeling. But our body does have a layer of outer skin, the epidermis, for the purpose of protecting us from invasion of bacteria, small bumps and bruises, and small pinpricks. The epidermis is thick enough and tough enough to offer protection against small wounds, but not so thick and hard that it interferes with all feeling. Many people have no epidermis on their ego. They have only the thin, sensitive inner skin. They need to become thicker skinned, emotionally tougher, so that they will simply ignore petty cuts and minor ego threats. Also, they need to build up their self-esteem, get a better and more adequate self-image of themselves, so that they will not feel threatened by every chance remark or innocent act. A big, strong man does not feel threatened by a small danger. A little man does. In the same way, a healthy, strong ego with plenty of self-esteem does not feel itself threatened by every innocent remark. Healthy self-images do not bruise easily. The person who feels his self-worth is threatened by a slighting remark has a small, weak ego and a small amount of self-esteem. He is self-centered, self-concerned, hard to get along with, and what we call egotistic. But we do not cure a thick or weak ego by beating it down, undermining it, or making it even weaker through self-abnegation or trying to become selfless. Self-esteem is as necessary to the spirit as food is to the body. The cure for self-centeredness, self-concern, egotism, and all the ills that go with it is the development of a healthy, strong ego by building up self-esteem. When a person has adequate self-esteem, little slights offer no threat at all. They are simply passed over and ignored. Even deeper emotional wounds are likely to heal faster and cleaner with no festering sores to poison life or spoil happiness. 2, let's see. A self-reliant, responsible attitude makes you less vulnerable. As Dr. Holland pointed out, the juvenile delinquent with the hard outer shell has a soft, vulnerable inner person who wants to be dependent upon others and wants to be loved by others. Salesmen tell me that the person who apparently puts up the most sales resistance at the outset is frequently an easy sell once you get past his defenses. The people who feel called upon to put up no salesman allowed signs do so because they are soft touches and need protection. The person with the hard, gruff exterior usually develops it because instinctively he realizes he is so soft inside that he needs protection. The person has little or no self-reliance, who feels emotionally dependent upon others, makes himself most vulnerable to emotional hurts. Every human being wants and needs love and affection, but the creative, self-reliant person also feels a need to give love. His emphasis is as much or more on the giving as on the getting. He doesn't expect love to be handed to him on a silver platter, nor does he have a compulsive need that everybody must love him and approve of him. He has sufficient ego security to tolerate the fact that a certain number of people will dislike him and disapprove. He feels some sense of responsibility for his life and conceives of himself primarily as one who acts, determines, gives, goes after what he wants, rather than a person who is the passive recipient of all the good things in life. The passive dependent person turns his entire destiny over to other people, circumstances, luck. Life owes him a living, and other people owe him consideration, appreciation, love, happiness. He makes unreasonable demands and claims on other people and feels cheated, wronged, hurt when they aren't fulfilled. Because life isn't built that way, he is seeking the impossible and leaving himself wide open to emotional hurts and injuries. Someone has said that the neurotic personality is forever bumping into reality. Develop a more self-reliant attitude. Assume responsibility for your own life and emotional needs. Try giving affection, love, approval, acceptance, understanding to other people, and you'll find them coming back to you as a sort of reflex action. Relax away. Number 3, relax away emotional hurts. I once had a patient ask me, if the forming of scar tissue is a natural automatic thing, why doesn't scar tissue from a plastic surgeon makes an incision? Why doesn't scar tissue? Okay, why doesn't scar tissue form when a plastic surgeon makes an incision? The answer is that if you cut your face and it heals naturally, scar tissue will form because there is a certain amount of tension in the wound, and just underneath the wound, which pulls the surface of the skin back, creates a gap, so to speak, which is filled in by scar tissue. When a plastic surgeon operates, he not only pulls the skin together by sutures, he also cuts out a small amount of flesh underneath the skin so that there's no tension present. The incision heals smoothly, evenly, and with no distorting scar tissue. It is interesting to note that the same thing happens in the case of emotional wound. If there is no tension present, there is no disfiguring emotional scar left. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to get your feelings hurt or take offense when you're suffering tensions brought on by frustration, fear, anger, or depression? We go to work feeling out of sorts or down in the dumps or with self-confidence shaken because of some adverse experience. A friend comes by and makes a joking remark. 9 times out of 10, we would laugh, think it's funny, think nothing about it, and make a good-natured crack in return. But not today. Today, we are suffering tensions of self-doubt, insecurity, anxiety. We take the remark in the wrong way, become offended and hurt, and an emotional scar begins to form. This simple everyday experience illustrates very well the principle that we are injured and hurt emotionally, not so much by other people or what they say or don't say, but by our own attitude and our own response. Relaxation cushions emotional blows. When we feel hurt or feel offended, the feeling is entirely a matter of our own response. In fact, the feeling is our response. It is our own responses that we have to be concerned about, not other people's. We can tighten up, become angry, anxious, or resentful and feel hurt. Or we can make no response, remain relaxed, and feel no hurt. Scientific experiments have shown that it is absolutely impossible to feel fear, anger, anxiety, or negative emotions of any kind while the muscles of the body are kept perfectly relaxed. We have to do something to feel fear, anger, anxiety. No man is hurt but by himself, said Diogenes. Nothing can work me damage except myself. Nothing can work me damage except myself, said Saint Bernard. The harm that I sustain, I carry about with me, and am never a real sufferer, but by my own fault. Good quote. Nothing can work me damage except myself. The harm that I sustain, I carry about with me, and am never a real sufferer, but by my own fault. You alone are responsible for your responses and reactions. You do not have to respond at all. You can remain relaxed and free from injury. Okay, this is a good place to stop for now. Come back tomorrow. And glad to see you guys, those who have joined us since we got started. Good to have you here with us. And looks like we even have maybe a couple new people here today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let me explain what goes on at this point. This is your opportunity to share what you like to share or ask whatever questions you would like to ask. So let's talk about what would be appropriate. As far as sharing what you would like to share, anything in relationship to having more money and wealth in your life, manifested in your life, that you have intentionally you've set a goal or intention to manifest more money or wealth in your life, and it has actually happened for you. Feel free to share what that was, what's gone on, maybe how that came about. That would be awesome. Or anything that you actually wanted to truly manifest in your life that you set the intention for and it did manifest. So essentially success stories and wins. The other thing that you could share, we've been going strong for a few months now. So anything in relationship to whatever it is that we've talked about in the past or studied in the past, that's fair game. Also anything in relationship to what we have gone over today, maybe something that stuck out for you, something that you're going to take and apply, or something, an aha moment that you had. So those are the types of things that would be great for you to share. Questions. So what is fair game? Well, anything in relationship to what we studied in the past, anything in relationship to what we're going over today, and or anything at all in relationship to manifesting more money and wealth in your life. Those would be great questions to ask. So here's how we function here. All you have to do in a moment when I say it's your time is you just come off of mute and start sharing what you would like to share and or asking whatever question you would like to ask. And then we'll just take you in the order that you do that. Okay. So at this point, it is your time. So go ahead and feel free to come off mute, share what you like to share, or ask whatever questions you'd like to ask.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
So I recently got on this app called Clubhouse, and it's kind of like there's different clubs like for different themes and subjects and all that kind of stuff. And of course, I'm doing like voiceover clubs and entertainment and acting and filmmakers and all that kind of stuff. And I've noticed a lot of people talking about, oh, I manifested this, I manifested that. Awesome. Like they'll get in conversations about manifestation in the entertainment industry. And this one guy, Ari, he was talking about how he wanted this role for this show called Payback. And he would say every single day, I am Boone, I am Boone. And sure enough, he got it. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think a lot, well, I say a lot, right? We hear from successful ones. And so maybe we should put it that way. The people that are having success, in the industry are already using their own acting skills, so to speak, to put themselves in the position of being the person they want to be or get the part they want to get. So it works for everything, but definitely using the acting skill to secure a position as an actor or actress in a given role is definitely, a smart way to go about doing it. So that's obviously what this person has done. I'm sure other people have probably thought it too, but there's a difference between repeating words and actually seeing yourself and feeling yourself, which is what we're talking about right here. So that person was able to see themselves as Boone, which is awesome. And they got the part, which is really cool. So absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. And you said it's called Clubhouse?
Yes, it's called Clubhouse, and it's a really great platform. So if you ever want to get on there and create like a clubhouse for manifestation, I highly recommend it. It's just like this, but without video, and everyone's on mic.
Okay.
and it's a really cool platform.
Okay, you said like this without video, but people are on mic, you can hear them?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. I liked it. I will check it out. Thank you. All right. Anybody else with any thing you'd like to share, any comments or questions?
Yeah, hi Kevin, this is Rich.
Hey, Rich, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, fine. Quick question. Did you do away with the noon your time?
I did. It just wasn't gathering new people like I was hoping. So yeah.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, I
thanks.
mean,
I was just,
yeah,
I just thought I'd check because I saw you canceled both meetings a few days ago, and that, um, I then got a notice for this one, but I didn't see anything about the other one. So
well,
okay,
actually,
appreciate it.
I never did cancel this one.
Oh, oh, okay, okay. Maybe it
No,
was
no.
like a double. Maybe it was a double notice about the thing. Well, I think it was like it looked like a cancellation just for the day or something, but maybe I'm mistaken on it. So,
Yeah, no, I think what I did is I originally was canceling the other one. Then I'm like, oh, I want to send a message out talking about this one inside of it. And so I kind of
uh-huh.
reopened it and then redid it. So it probably just sent two for the same for the other one.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, because this one's been going strong and it's going to continue to.
yeah.
But the intention to for more people that couldn't make it to this one to be able to go to that, it wasn't really having any different impact. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to stick with what's been working out really well for everybody. And this one has been, lately has had 10 to 15 or so every day. So that one was having, myself and maybe two or three, and they were pretty much everybody from this. So
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay. Thanks, Kevin. I just thought I I kind of figured since I didn't receive a notification about that one, also that that you had permanently canceled it, but uh better safe than sorry. If I didn't ask the question, I wouldn't know
yeah,
completely. So
yeah.
okay,
No,
thanks Kevin.
yeah, you're welcome. Glad to have you here.
Thanks, bye.
Hey Kevin, new
Hey,
here. Uh,
hi.
Hi. I missed the beginning. What book were you reading from?
Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz.
Oh, wow, great.
And I'll do something for you really quick here. I'm going to go to screen share really quick and show you where I found it so you can get it for yourself, and it's free. At least where I
Thanks.
found it, it's free. So I just got to remember
Nice.
on page 180. So if you just go to Google, here's what I did. I typed Psycho-Cybernetics into Google, and then several things came up, and then I went through them to see which ones I liked. At least as far as my search, the one at the top is this one that I chose. And then when I clicked on it, it just popped right up. There you go. Let me remember the page really quick so I can remember where I was at. All right, but I didn't have to put anything information in, and then I was able to just download and save it. So that's where you can get a free copy of the book if you like.
Great, thank you. I wish I had something positive to share about my progress, but this is positive right now.
Absolutely.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. That's positive that you're going to get it and you're going to follow along. And welcome, welcome. Good to have you. I
Thank
think
you.
this is your first time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Well, keep coming. We're here Monday through Friday.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Uh-huh. All righty. I'm gonna just to see how you're doing. I haven't heard from you in a little while. How are things going with you, Michael? You go to the bathroom, go to the kitchen. You there, Mike? He disappeared on us. I know I see your picture, but are you in the room with your computer? That's the question. Sheta, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Terrific. Making any progress with anything?
Well, like it seems like a period of working and planning, and like this. Still nothing new.
Okay,
Yeah, but I'm in good vibration, so I could receive something.
awesome. Awesome. Cool. Good to hear that. And let's see, we have maybe another new person. I don't recognize the name. Thea, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome, by the way.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you.
Is this your
Very
first time with us?
interesting. Yes, it is. And it's a very interesting moment, especially with this being my first time and the actual segment of the book you just read. So it feels like you speaking directly to me, and I was meant to be here today.
Awesome. I love when that happens. I
Yeah.
love when that happens. Well, cool. So what was it that kind of struck you? Like, what was it that you needed to hear?
Where do I start? So mainly the pinpointing around the uh, the way that I look at emotional scars
Okay,
and the way that I can now begin to approach it totally different,
cool.
having it being read like that. And specifically how I will be dealing with my emotional scars. I'm sorry for the dog in the background.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Can't hear
Have,
the dog, so it's fine. We can't hear the
okay.
dog.
Okay, cool. So having it read that way and having it felt like the way that I was viewing it was literally shifting as you were reading it. So it was giving me another approach, another option to how I can just view it on a daily basis.
Yeah,
And I know that it will help with the way that I approach manifestation in a whole, because I feel myself just coming out of the feelings of not feeling good enough or not feeling worthy or
okay,
figuring that I'm incapable.
okay,
So
okay,
I'm still on the skirts of it. So it's like that energy, it still permeates, but I know it's not on me anymore.
okay, okay.
So having it read to me now, it was almost like, so allow this to accommodate the newness that you're now walking into.
There you go. Very cool. All right. Yeah, well, and I think intellectually you may know this, if not at a subconscious level, accepted it yet. But ultimately, we don't, as human beings, we don't have to qualify or be worthy of anything to manifest. There's not some thing that it says, okay, you're good enough, but you're not good enough. You're good enough, but you're not good enough. Um, it it's not God's not arbitrarily handing things out to people he's pleased with.
Mhm.
This all functions by law, and if you obey, and the law is not based on it's not a worthiness law. It is you think a certain thing in a positive way, and it's going to vibrate. You're going to come into vibration. That vibration is going to impress on God in the universe, and it's just going to mirror back and reflect to you what you're vibrating. So you don't have to qualify for anything. What you probably have to do for you, not for God necessarily, is you have to forgive whatever it is about yourself that you don't feel good about.
Absolutely.
Right? But there's no judgment on the other side of, okay, in order for me to provide this for you, I'm going to make you jump through a bunch of hoops and become perfected before I'm going to give you anything. If that were the case, none of us would have anything anyway, because none of us are perfect and we all screw up. What we have to be willing to do, in a sense, if we you know, and everybody has their different beliefs about God and the universe and stuff. But if we believe in a God that actually there's some judgment there, then we also have to believe that if there's judgment, there's also got to be mercy and forgiveness. So what we really have to do is ask quickly for forgiveness, but more importantly, forgive ourselves as quickly as possible, because we are not meant to be beat upon, and we're not meant to beat upon ourselves. The law of forgiveness and what has already been done for us so that we can be forgiven of everything that we do imperfectly, or, you know, mistakes we make, or if you want to call it sin or whatever you want to call it, that was already taken care of. God said, just ask, you know, for the forgiveness and then turn around and go the direction that you want to go. That's essentially what that is it's just turning away from. Well, what does that mean? Well, whatever bad thoughts and feelings, whatever we put out there that brought a bad result, don't beat ourselves up for it. Just say, hey, God, I already know that you've taken care of this. Please forgive me and help me to forgive me, and let's move in the right direction. That's the direction God would rather have you go anyway. And as soon as you do that, you're going to feel better about yourself. The sooner that you take that upon yourself to go, okay, I don't need to be perfect to have what I want in life. I just need to ask for what I have, for what I want, and believe that God's going to provide it, and know that he provides it by law. He doesn't go, okay, I like Kevin better than Thea, so Kevin gets more stuff. That's not, he doesn't take those of us that are in this meeting and dishes out or hands out things based upon, you know, who's the nicest person, who's the most worthy of it, you know, who's put in the most physical effort. No, he says, okay, everybody, what do you want? And individually, as long as we believe that he'll provide it and we actually see ourselves having it and feeling grateful for it in the first place, then that creates a vibration which allows God to provide it. We obey a law. We don't try to appease someone and gain their, you know, confidence by the acts that we're doing, because in relationship to God, you and I are always going to be sitting there pretty imperfect anyway. So if he's waiting for us to do everything perfectly and to be perfectly worthy, it's never going to happen.
Interesting.
So be nice to yourself. That's not that doesn't mean anything I was saying that means, okay, go out and be a jerk on purpose, you know, right? That's not giving license to go out and do that. But we're going to, sometime from the time you woke up this morning to the time you go to bed today, there is going to be something all of us don't do as well as we could have done it.
Absolutely.
There
Real
just
quick
is.
before, I would like to offer this question up to you or anyone here, with regards to being unapologetic about the richness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you to reconcile or align that emotional foundation where you are unapologetic about where you stand with regards to whether it's spiritual enrichment, financial enrichment, just rich.
Yep. I can give you a chapter of a book to read that I recommend when I coach people, that they read it every single day their entire life. And you could go find it for free very
Okay,
easily.
sure.
Huh?
Okay.
It's called The Spirit of Opulence is the name of the chapter. Hang on, I'm going to go into my screen share to help you guys out. Let's see if we can go find it together.
Okay.
That's the chapter. That's not the book. So you'll need the whole book, but it's a chapter within. So yeah, it'll come up for, because I'm always Spirit of Opulence. Let's see here. See if I can find the book. Let's see. Come on, what book is it? You can get it on Amazon, but that's the only that's okay. So it's a book called The Hidden Power. It's written by Thomas Troward. Let's see if I pull this up, if this will just bring the book up so you can go get it. You don't have to get it here. I'm just trying to find, the text so you know what's on it, and you can go find it. But it's a book called Your Hidden Power. Let's see, was it your or the? The Hidden Power, Thomas Troward. It was written or published in 1921. And chapter 14 is called The Spirit of Opulence. You could easily find the book, The Hidden Power by Thomas Troward, because it's public domain. So finding it for free. If you just type in The Hidden Power, Thomas Troward PDF, I bet you'll find the book. But it's chapter 14 that you want to read over and over and over again.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And maybe some other people heard that, and that'll help them out too. All right. Anybody else? Any questions or actually, you know what? I would like to hear from, since she's here, if you're not hiding from us, I don't think you are. Mercedes, you've been reading The Spirit of Opulence, right?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, cool. What's it done for you, if anything?
Just a reminder, just to keep it circulating, just remember to be a giver.
How about the feeling of that you actually can't ask for too much, or there's any special worthiness or anything that you got to do, or?
Yeah, just yeah, there's no limits, that we can have whatever we want, really.
Do you feel you have to qualify or be worthy when you read that, or do you feel no?
Not at all.
Awesome. So you're reading it every day, right?
Yeah, every day. I read it every morning.
Yep. Cool. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Good to see you too. Awesome. All right. Anybody else? Any questions or anything else you'd like to share? I know we're pretty much at time, but I'm here for you to help if there's any last questions. Okay, well, those of you who showed up for the first time, please keep coming. Hopefully you'll be back. We will be here tomorrow at the same time. And thank you for spending some time with us today. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Hi, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Very welcome.
Y'all have a good day.
Kevin,
You're
y'all
welcome.
have a good day too.